All right, YouTube, I got a round 7 recap for you. Very exciting game. A lot of developing recipes for disaster. That's what I'm going to say. Okay, so anyway, this is the casualty bin for this round. Kind of like the last round, not as huge, but still a little significant. We got some pro-Ottoman, another pro-Ottoman territory got aligned by the Ottomans. The Soviets lost their cruiser, and there's been just in general a skirmishing on either sides. Afghanistan got invaded, so that's one less neutral on the board. And yeah, so let's kind of go over the recap for the round as to what happened with each country. So skirmishing happened with Austria-Hungary in Tyrol. They contested it from the Italians, and then they just kind of kept beefing up in Greece, fortifying there, and beefing up their attack force, I'm assuming, or defensive force in Dalmatia here. And then down here, we have a very interesting thing. Normally, Austria-Hungary does not get very expansive. They don't usually cover a lot of ground in the Middle East and Africa. But we got the Austrians aligning Cyrenaica for the Ottomans, and they took over the Italian colony of Libya, as well as the British colony of the Anglo-Egyptian Sudan. So they are helping out with the Central Power Africa point. They're also fortifying up here in Persia. So we got all three Central Powers hanging out here in Persia. I think that is the only territory where all Central Powers are together. Yes, we have the Ottomans and Austrians in Egypt, and we have German cavalry and Ottomans in Mesopotamia, and we have also Germans in Greece with Austria-Hungary. But that is the only area where all three of them are together. So that's always cool to see. Let's see. All right. So anyway. Austria-Hungary built another fighter. So now they got 3 fighters, and Italy, follows suits. They do the fighter buy-off, basically. There's generally a kind of a competition here to fight over air supremacy. In the Russian Civil War, the Soviets came in and attacked Tatarstan, and were only able to contest it. They knocked down. I think they were 1 unit shy, which allowed the whites to just reinforce it there. And so then, kind of the last hurrah of what the whites have to work with, because the whites have a dwindling economy, but they only have I think 6 IPCs, whereas the Soviets are making 23 a turn, give or take, because of their national objective where they get extra money for controlling Petrograd and Moscow, so that they can really start pumping out units and stuff. Japan, as you can see, is making their way over, as are a few American units to help out defensively. So ultimately, we're probably going to see a big clash standoff here, and the Russian Civil War, the Fate of Russia victory point, is about who controls, not contests, but controls the largest amount of original Russian territories. And right now, the Soviets have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and the whites have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, sorry, Mongolian territories don't count. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So the whites are currently winning, but I don't foresee the Soviets being able to be held at this point for the last remaining 3 rounds of the game. I think all the Soviets have to do is knock out one of these territories, 1 or 2 of these territories, and then if it's a tie, the Soviets win. Soviets win in a tie. So I foresee a Soviet victory. Madman is thinking it's going to be an Allied victory. Yes, there's a lot of Japanese stuff over here, but are they going to be able to make it over here in time? Again, Japan cannot. Japan and the Allies in general, besides the whites, cannot attack Soviet-controlled territories if they contain Soviet units. They can only attack Soviet-controlled territories that don't have units and contested and Soviet contested territories or reinforce those territories and be defensive units pretty much. But they can also attack Soviet units that are anywhere outside of original Russian territory. So, like, they can, if the Soviets send sea units out into the sea, or if they invade like Norway, for instance, or drop units off in Scotland, yes, the Allies would be able to attack them there because they're not in Soviet-controlled territories. But Soviet-controlled territories that have units are with the chaos of the Civil War. Soviet territories that have units are considered to be stabilized, and firmly in firmly under Soviet control. So right now, the Allies could actually drop off here in Karelia and Archangel, which is what this is threatening to do. They can drop off up there because there aren't Soviet units. So as long as he has like one infantry or in each of those territories, then the Allies can't. The Allies, besides the Whites, can't attack there. So that's just kind of how that works. If the Soviets come into Mongolia, they'd be able to attack those territories freely. Anyway, the Allies would. Going on from there, Germany is doing some things, doing the usual build-up moves. I got 3 task force markers going, just to make it a clear read. Just to make it a clearer read. And this is the French. The French army is right here in Belgium, right here for the time being. And then this big German army right here is in Alsace. And then this British army here is also in Belgium. So that kind of just explains that right there. But yes, the remaining units from the Eastern Front have made their way back over here, and Madman has been sending Germans down to Greece with the Zeppelins. So he's got 2 units there as cargo in Greece, and there's 1 infantry in Greece, which is what allows this Zeppelin to come down here and its movement there without offloading those troops. And he wouldn't be able to offload those troops without another German unit being present. The other Zeppelin has made its way down to German East Africa. I love seeing this happen, not because the Zeppelins aren't over here, but just the fact that he is doing this is really, really cool. But yeah, we got 1 Zeppelin here. It's offloaded troops in German East Africa. And then we have another Zeppelin there. Germans also didn't go for South Africa just yet, but they went into Belgian Congo. And yeah, fun times right there. What else? France, like I said, basically have covered it. France is just building up stuff here. They have to concentrate over here, really. They just don't have the money to do anything else, really. Britain has been doing chaos everywhere. Like I said, they have stuff, sending some stuff up there to potentially go that way, but it could also swing back down this way, doing its best to pull the Central Powers in different directions, fleeing from the Ottomans out of Darfur down into French Equatorial Africa with what was left from Egypt, and which the Ottomans have given chase. Very interesting to see. The Brits liberated Somaliland for the Italians, and retook Portuguese East Africa once again, and have built up in India, and in an attempt to try and draw attention and have a side conflict or whatever. Britain attacked Afghanistan and knocked that out, and now controls Afghanistan. And so far, the Central Powers have not taken the bait on that, but we'll see. Anyway, and then the last of the Anzac units are on 2 transports here in 47. But that basically covers it. And like I've said, this is what's going on with Japan. Japan's building cavalry to get their units over there as fast as possible. As you can see, China, I'm jumping a little bit ahead, but in terms of like what Japan has to worry about, this concentration would be a different story if Japan had to also deal with China. it has been the National Protection Award, just because of the rolling of the dice. It's been very lopsided, to Empire China for the duration of the game, and the war is almost over, but the Empire just need one more hit in Hainan. He has one unit there, and it's contested, so he can't build there. So anyway, this war is basically over. Basically over at this point. Allies are going to get the China point, for sure. And that's basically that. The Ottomans, like I said, gave chase down into Darfur, and with the newly freed up cavalry and infantry from Cyrenaica, towed that infantry and attacked open Tunisia, which the Americans have landed and tried to liberate, but no hits were made. So it's just an equal standoff, so to speak. Make that a little clearer. All right. And America has done a kind of an interesting thing and built a military base in Brazil to try and pump more units out of Brazil to, make it speed up units getting over here, as opposed to having to build units here and coming down and stuff. So that's kind of cool. We have it so that you can purchase facilities. And if you purchase facilities as opposed to getting them via tech rolls, you can then place them in aligned territories. If you receive them via tech rolls, you can only place them in original territories. Anyway, so that's that. And also America's come down and... this is the first game I've seen this in where America's come down and taken Togoland and Cameroon, because France just is never going to be in a position to be able to take that themselves. If they took that and controlled all their original territories, they had a national objective, but with this going on here, that's not going to happen. So America came in and got some money away from Germany and increased the money of their own, actually. And they're also transporting them British units down here towards southern Africa here as well. The conflict in Mexico still stands. I took out most of the American units, sent a minimum amount down to try and take out the contested southern Mexico, and sent most of my stuff this way. So with what is left, I think that's enough to eventually deal with it, but we shall see. Anyway, so that's about that. We also got an American sub up here in Season 22. Fun times. I think that about covers it. Italy. Italy bought a tank and, is doing the pipeline feed here since we don't have any Central Powers warships in the Med to worry about. We don't have any Central Powers warships left on the game at all. Soviet cruiser was just knocked out, so even that's gone now too. So yeah, fun stuff. What's up? Thinking. Italy took over Tyrol once again, and so they now controlled. It was contested, and they reclaimed it once again. So they have Tyrol once more, and like I said, they built a tank and another fighter, and a few more land units and stuff, and continue to pump up that way. Anyway, that about covers it for round 7, and I already know Madman has taken his turns for Austria-Hungary, Soviets, and Germany, and I think it sounds like he told me a little bit, but it sounds like we're in for an exciting turn 8. So stay tuned, and we'll see what happens.